Hey guys, welcome back to another action figure review. Another Tunshi Studios Metal Slug figure is up for review today. This time taking a look at Eri Kasamoto from the Metal Slug 3 series. And just like the rest of the series, the box is shaped like the character selection screen with the window to see the figure inside of the box. While on the back, we have a faded out image of Eri, a few warnings and text about handling the figure, and an official SNK holographic sticker. The figure is sealed up in a plastic wrap with serial numbers at the top showing her initials, as well as a barcode and the Tunshi Studios logo at the bottom. First, we will need to remove the plastic wrap, then open up the cardboard box where the figure will slide out. Finally, we have access to the figure opening up with the magnetic flap. The instructions are packed at the top, and the figure is tightly packed into the plastic tray. Like her female counterpart Fio, Eri Kasamoto makes her first appearance in the Metal Slug 2 video game, both being the first women to be introduced into the team and have been a staple of the series ever since. Born in Japan, Eri was abandoned as a baby at a local church, eventually running away from the sanctuary to join a gang of street kids and become their leader. After making a name for herself on the streets, she caught the eye of the military and was recruited into the intelligence agency where she will once again rise to the top ranks. But Eri despised being a spy and transferred to the Sparrows unit led by Fio, a special forces unit that will join up with Marco and Tarma tasked with stopping the rebel army. Eri can be seen here in her classic outfit, a green bandana, blonde hair while wearing her green vest over a white tank top and green shorts. Similar to Fio, only a different color. Tunshi Studios, like the rest of the Metal Slug series, have given Eri a more modern look to her head sculpt, using a more realistic while having a slight anime style. It's completely different from the original game's sprite artwork, but also very different from the latest reworks of the character designs, giving us somewhat a middle ground between the series. Let's check out the details of the figure. Eri's default expression is an angry glare, with a stern look on her face, noticing her eyebrows pointed downwards, and a slight frown on her mouth. Lots of strands of blonde hair spill out of her green bandana, textured with sharp edges and smaller strands stacked on top of each other. Her big eyes are glossy and shine, reflecting light, while giving the character a slight anime-style look. The side gives us a better look at how the hair is wrapped into the bandana, showing off details like the folds in the cloth and the texture, and the ear sculpting with more strands of hair. While on the back we can see the bow the bandana is tied into, as well as the last strands of hair spilling into the back. The chest has a similar cloth vest and tank top seen on Fio. Tight, form-fitting clothing already being stretched by the bust of the figure, with not much room to adjust or remove from the figure. Taking a look at the side, we can see the same level of detail added to the vest. Tons of pockets and stitching making the cloth accessory look much more detailed. Around to the back, the cloth vest covers up most of the body, with only a few more stitching work to give a bit of detail in this area, with a bit of the waist exposed. Eri shares the same body sculpt as Fio, giving them both slim shoulders with any lack of real muscle tone here. For the hands, we have brown leather bracers worn at the wrist, with pre-installed gripping hands to hold weapons with. A brown leather textured belt with a silver buckle secures the green shorts worn by the figure. Small details like stitchings wrap around the legs, and to give the appearance of a pocket for the front zipper. Moving on to the side, we have a look at more stitching detail, especially at the sides, showing off an opening at the pocket with the black fabric on the inside. We also have a look at the brown leather bag attached to the back of the belt. Here on the back, we have a small plastic bag, textured and colored in a brown leather effect. While underneath, we have more stitching to give the appearance of two back pockets. Moving down to the legs, we have matching cloth socks underneath the knee pads, with a few scratch paint details in them, as well as a stretchy brown strap to secure them onto the legs. We wrap up the details with the combat boots. Loose-fitting brown wool socks are worn underneath, with the boots painted in a green, tan, and brown leather sections, with the dark brown wash to give them a dirtied up appearance. Let's take a look at the articulation the figure has. Normally for my articulation reviews, I remove as many accessories as I can to show the full range if possible. But just like Fio and the other Tunshi Studios Metal Slug figures, we do have a warning that attempting to remove the clothing will damage them, or trying to get some extreme range on the figure will lead to damage. We have a full rotation and forward and backwards bending on the head. The neck joint is covered by the rubbery skin of the chest. Shoulders that open and fully rotate. with a butterfly joint here that's slightly hindered by the cloth vest. Biceps that rotate. Double jointed elbows with a tight range on both the sections of the arms, able to give a very tight fit. Wrists that rotate and bend forward and back. We do have a chest joint at the middle of the figure that's covered by all of the clothing. It does give us some great back bending range and forward range, as well as twisting and bending all around. We have another similar joint at the waist. It can bend forward, back, and side to side, as well as rotate. And when combined with the chest, it gives us a great range of crunching forward and back on the body. Once again, dealing with the cloth shorts, they heavily restrict all the motion of the legs and thighs. We have very minimal range before the cloth starts to stretch, making it hard to keep it in that pose. Even without putting too much force, the range is pretty minimal no matter which way you push the legs into. You'll almost always run into some sort of resistance from the tight form-fitting clothing, restricting most articulation here at any range. For the legs, we do have double jointed knees, able to get a tight backwards bend, but will be hindered by the straps and cloth here. And finishing up the articulation with the boots, we have ankles that rotate and bend up and down, without the socks restricting any of the motion. Tunshi Studios has the Metal Slug series of figures in the 1/12-inch scale size, and just like Theo, Eri stands just under 6 inches tall. Since they both share the same body, having them side by side really shows the minor differences between both figures. Next up, we have the Hasbro with their standard 12-inch scale, just showing off that the Metal Slug girls fit in well with the general scale. Next to some Jada Toys Street Fighter figures that run on the smaller size of the 12-inch scale, Eri fits in just fine if looking a little cartoony with the proportions. Next to McFarlane's 7-inch scale, almost every 6-inch scale figure looks tiny in comparison, but it should help people who collect larger scales get an idea. Next to some Figma figures, we can compare how the popular Japanese scale looks next to some of the Tunshi Studio figures. Let's check out all of the accessories Eri comes with. We have an alternate head for Eri in a comedic looking pose with her lips in a blowing expression and her cheeks filled with air. The heads are extremely easy to swap out, requiring minimal force to take off, and just a small bit of force to peg back into the socket. For the alternate head, we get a bubble made of gum in a clear pearlescent color. The bubble sockets into the mouth, giving Eri the appearance of blowing a bubble out of gum, just like her idol animation in-game. We have a black submachine gun detailed with small silver scratches and brown dust. The ammo magazine does come off and it has a single bullet detailed at the top. We have a clear red laser effect to attach the submachine gun using the small peg on the front. The effect can easily peg into the empty barrel of the gun and firmly stays in place. We have a large shotgun blast effect that attaches to the submachine gun. It's transparent and hollow to stay lightweight. Just like the laser, the shotgun blast effect sockets into the empty barrel, although it does make the weapon a bit more heavy at the front. We have a small revolver painted in gunmetal and with some great detail sculpted into it. And we have a small black tactical axe with a detachable blade so you can use as a tonfa instead. We get a pair of hands with the trigger finger to hold onto the guns. It easily slides and holds onto the submachine gun, and holds the revolver just as tightly. We get a single gripping hand in an open grabbing position. This particular hand fits perfectly on the front of the submachine gun. And we have an open palm grasping hand, used to rest on her waist or carry items. Just like Theo, Eri comes with the warning to heat up the hands when installing and removing. Warming up the hands does make the plastic very soft and easy to swap. I really do suggest doing this every single time you want to swap out the hand. After warming up the hands, they can easily pop out of the tiny joint. And warming up the alternate hands, they easily socket into the joint. Already equipped onto the figure is a small brown bag that can be opened by pulling both straps, revealing a small pocket. We have an ammo upgrade box, colored gray and green, And we have a small letter S that can be attached to the magnets hidden inside of the box to complete that shotgun power-up look. A single World War II style stick grenade painted with some grime around the edges. Just like feel, the grenades are much too large for the default hands, with the internal fingers blocking the stick. If you really want to pose with the grenade, the trigger finger holds them just fine. We have a bullet belt strap sculpted in a wavy curve. We get a small bag of random sized metallic bullets. A random small ammo magazine. All of these accessories can fit into the ammo box to complete the power-up look. Placing all the items into the box completes the look that matches the in-game item. We get a small red and gold chest that acts as an in-game point booster, with a lid that actually opens. A small white letter with the heart seen as an in-game point booster. And just like the other Metal Slug figures, we have a wooden and metal base. It has a socket for the claw and the Tunshi Studio and SNK logos at the back. A small black claw to attach to the base, with hooks that close by themselves. The hook simply screws into the base until tight. And with the figure installed, the claw holds onto the body pretty tightly and secures the figure very well. And we get a small piece of plastic to attach multiple bases to each other. Eri is another hit from Tunshi Studios. Very similar to Feel since they both use the same body sculpting and similar clothing, just like in game both of them were just minor sprite changes between both girls. Although her head sculpting and different colored clothing is still enough to make her look unique on her own, and comes with some impressive accessories to further separate both girls from looking too similar. Tunshi Studios really did a great job with the face sculpting, and I have to say they gave Eri a cute appearance with a modern spin on the classic look without looking too different like the more recent designs for Eri. It's another high quality figure packed with accessories, and the cloth goods that are also very detailed, filled with pockets and other stitching. For the premium price that these figures do go for, the amount of accessories Eri comes with gives you a ton of options on posing her, as well as being able to share with the other figures. Similar to the problems that Fio had, is the clothing is also tight and form-fitting on this character that you'll have a lot of articulation restricted by it, especially at the legs. We only get a minimal amount of range before the clothing starts to stretch. And while the clothing is made of a soft stretchy material, I personally do not feel comfortable stretching it out for a long period of time for just a display pose. This would be a rare design choice where Tunshi Studios goes quality over function, as the clothing is impressively detailed, but it's just too tight with the material they use. Eri gets the best accessories out of both of the girls, loaded with some impressive weapon effects. The laser and the shotgun blast look amazing and allow the character to get into some great gun poses, thanks to in part the great upper body articulation. She does have fewer hands than Fio does, but the extra effects more than makes up for that. Eri is a fine action figure. Tunshi Studios keeps hitting all the right boxes and packing these figures with accessories that are straight out of the game. The appearance and accuracy of the characters and accessories match the game very well, and the updated modern look of the girls is really appreciated, giving them both a cute appearance. Other than wanting more face expressions, I really have no complaints other than the articulation issues. I wouldn't really hold that against this amazing figure, but at the high price these do go for, they're not going to be for everyone. Hardcore Metal Slug fans will see these figures as holy grails, as they do look amazing, have a nice style, and the 1/12" scale makes them fit perfectly with other video game figures. At such a high quality of a figure, I really don't think anyone who picks up Eri would be disappointed. There's a ton of posing possibilities, amazing accessories to work with, and there are some of the only Metal Slug figures out there currently. These figures are selling out very fast, so definitely check for the best price, as import figures usually have their own prices set by the stores. You might be able to find them for a great price. Alright guys, that's it for this review. Leave a comment letting me know how you like this figure, subscribe or share this video with your friends to help out the channel.